The COVID pandemic had a devastating impact on the arts. Hundreds of thousands of people were left without income. Salons were closed. Venues were empty. Everywhere you go, you had to check in with QR codes. Mental health deteriorated due to the isolation during lockdown. These are just a few of the people in the arts and their experience of COVID.
My personal experience of COVID has been a bit confusing, it's bittersweet. I had some family members affected. Lots of plans that got cancelled because I couldn't travel. I couldn't go back see my family for a long time. But obviously, technology makes things easier. You see them, you have Zoom calls and you see them on camera every day.
Got my dream job when I was 33, which is quite late as a dancer. Well, 32 around that time, and got to travel the world with this company Canduco. So I've had COVID twice. I had it back when it was the alpha version, which was the version before everyone was vaccinated. And that was really challenging. I was very unwell. Back then you would go into isolation for more like 30 days. And I also went to hospital a couple of times because I was really uncertain about how it was affecting my health. I had COVID a second time about 2 months ago. And that time it was more rampant. I was locked in isolation and I had to talk on the telephone to the doctor because they didn't want to come in the room. Every time they'd come in, everyone would have all their outfits on, and I just felt like I was a leper. And I remember the doctor saying, does it feel like somebody's standing on your chest? And I was like, yes, it does. And so that was interesting because he's like, at that point, they were hearing about what was going on around the rest of the world. And that was a symptom. Catching COVID a third time, I don't know if I would be a fan of it, but I'm glad to be this side of having, survived a worldwide pandemic twice.
We had this whole night prepared, best dressed, most spectacular table competition. We had guest speakers about how to improve your marriage. It was fantastic. But it's the beginning of COVID and everyone's a little bit nervous, but we weren't quite sure. 2020, March 6th. And we did what we could, 1.5 meters distancing as much as we could, all that. But actually, we didn't know what we were doing. A great night, really successful night, except that a week later, 26 people had COVID and I got sick. But I couldn't get tested because I didn't meet the requirements. I was sick for 3 days, Some people ask me, what did your family do in that time? I have no idea, because I was in bed, sick for 3 days. But I got over it quite quickly, and on the 3rd day, I felt better. And on the 4th day, I had the best surf of my life. I caught the biggest wave. I was surfing for 5 hours. Unbelievable.
From third year university, I remember the microbiology lecturer talking to us about, the Justinian plague back around just almost Jesus's time, and the Black Plague, and the pandemic in 1918, the flu pandemic, and he said, 100 years have gone past, we're due for another pandemic. And so we all knew in medical school that we were due for a major pandemic that would wipe out a lot of the world. And then COVID came along. Spent a lot of time pretty much getting depressed and freaking out, trying to protect the family, trying to keep everyone using precautions to keep them safe, wiping down the house, wearing masks, all these things that kind of I took for granted, that it was a bit of a culture shock for my family, but definitely the rest of Australia as well.
A friend loves at all times, brings peace, love and harmony. I'll never forget the way you taught me how to love. You'll always be a part of